time this season, Dario Franchitti found himself on pole. Knowing from there, he could win $430,000. It could be a historic day for Alex Zanardi, because if he finished 8 points ahead of his nearest rivals, he would be guaranteed his second title on the trot. He was given a boost early on when Patrick Carpentier lunged down the inside of Jimmy Vasser, and both careered into their tyres. Greg Moore was involved in a spectacular incident that ended his afternoon, and it was all looking good for Zanardi. Due to pit stops, we had a number of leaders, including Alex Barron, who got slightly overexcited and lost control. This handed the initiative to Michael Andretti, but he had Scotland's Dario Franchitti breathing down his neck with only minutes remaining in the 2-hour race.
Here comes Franchitti, what a fantastic move down the inside. He made a great exit to turn 8 and he got alongside. Great stunt by Dario Franchitti.
And that quality manoeuvre from the Scotsman gave him his second straight victory and the pole winner's bonus, to increase his bank balance by $430,000. And his cool green teammates couldn't wait to get to him to help him spend it. A shell-shocked Michael Andretti was second, Scott Pruitt third, and Alex Zanardi fourth. And with Moore and Vasser crashing out, the Italian was guaranteed his second successive title in what is expected to be his last season in Champ Car before he switches to Formula One.
Line up. Well, like you say, you can see the two there, and then second and third, or third and fourth rather, Vasser and Dario Franchitti, or rather further down from that, you've got likes of Zanardi and Fernandez. All those guys are battling to get that second place, and you know, you'll see them fighting hard. And then you've got down there Gujamin, who's Mark Blundell's teammate, qualified quite well alongside Gilles de Ferran, who's pretty much out of the points hunt, so he won't be too important. But something like Andretti, he'll be disappointed down there on the outside of row 6.
What about Blundell? Where did
Blundell? You see him just down here. He's in 15th place, and it's just really, you know, it's not going from bad to worse, but it's not getting any better for him. He's really struggling to get the car working. Somewhere like Laguna Seca, he was very quick. He was very quick there in 96. So it's just, you know, they do not know how to get the car working.
And of course, it's worth mentioning as well, isn't it, Matt, that because Franchitti took the prize money from winning from pole last week, what happens to it this week?
Well, exactly. It kind of reverts back to the beginning. So if Herta can win, he gets $25,000. So it's not exactly the same prize money as $430,000, but I doubt he'd turn it down. And for him, obviously, the win is far more important than the bonus money. It's, you know, it would be his first win in the series.
Still be pretty sick, that.
Yeah, well, why would you?
So it's race 16 of the FedEx Championship Series from Monterey, California. Can Dario notch up some more points as he goes for that $500,000 prize for second place in the championship? Your race commentators, as always, are Ben Edwards and Jeremy Shaw.
Here we go then, we're about to start the first of 83 laps at Laguna Seca. They take the green flag and Herta gets away. Good start from Jimmy Vasser. Vasser takes second from Franchitti. Franchitti trying to slot in, but Greg Moore's down his inside. And Franchitti just gets into the corner, I think, ahead of Moore. Each trying to go, and somebody's off. Michael Andretti. JJ Leto might have made contact with him. And Michael Andretti, oh no, it's gone wrong for him in the early stages this time. The last few races been in the later. And look, damage to JJ Leto's car.
Yeah, we see Leto's car going straight in. Michael Andretti, he's not so sure the steering's not done on that car, but a great start there by Brian Herta, local favourite here. As I said, he qualified sensationally well at this racetrack. He loves the place. It really suits his style, as he was saying yesterday. There is JJ Leto's car, the right front wheel, heavy damage there.
Yes, there's no way he's going to be able to continue in this race. He's trying to make it back to the pits, but he's got 2 miles to do that.
Yeah, that's a great shame. He'd really done a good job this weekend. He qualified well. That was 11th place, his best start on a road course this year, and he's been confident with that car all weekend. But there is Brian Herta, almost the first lap complete, and a good 7, 8, 10 car length lead over Jimmy Vasser.
Yes, he's beginning to pull away already. Herta still looking for that first victory, remember. He's been getting pole positions, but no win. Second place, Vasser. Third place, Franchitti. Then Moore, then Zanardi. This is what happened to Michael, trying to go around the outside of JJ. Oh, and JJ ran wide into him. Now, I have to say that it looks as though Michael had given him plenty of room going into that one.
Yeah, he was well out there on the outside of the corner, and plenty of room between him and the next cars. And obviously, JJ got a little bit too heavy on the brakes. I think they're slid a little bit wide, as you say, and you can see Michael Andretti's car just snaps outside as here he is into the pits.
Yeah, boy's the problem with starting midfield. He started 12th. He said he had a car that was capable of getting on the first couple of rows, but he just didn't get the clear lap in, unfortunately. They've changed the tyres. He goes back out. but they are going to be struggling now the afternoon. Beaten by Franchitti last time out, and look at, yeah, just the same there. Vassar following Herta with Franchitti in third, Moore, then Zanardi. Keep an eye on Zanardi, running in 5th position at the moment, certainly pretty close behind Greg Moore in these early stages. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Adrian Fernandez in 6th, Alonso Jr. in 7th, Scott Pruitt, Gilles de Ferran and Maurizio Guzman are our top 10 so far.
Last 2 laps there have been relatively slow, 12.3 and 12.2. He's lost 4 or 5 tenths over the pace he was setting. Jimmy Vasser has now narrowed the gap to 2.62 seconds. That's 2 consecutive laps there for Herta in the 12s. That's pretty interesting. You just talked about some of the guys at the back of the field. Vincenzo Suspiria's last lap was a 13.7, and behind him now is Michael Andretti. His best lap was a 12.2, exactly the same as Brian Herta.
So down the hill, lap 21 completed, or coming up to be completed, and just to let you know, we're looking at about lap 26, 27 for them to make their first pit stop, perhaps 28. They are going to be tight on fuel though, and that's what they're thinking about already in this race, trying to lean the mixture off. There are those 3. They've been tied together, Franchitti, Moore and Zanardi, throughout this race so far, and enjoying quite a tussle, but no place changes. Dennis Vitolo's off. No great surprise, and he's got a fire in the back there as well.
I'm not sure where he is on the racetrack, actually. I'm looking out of our booth here in turn 4. Can't see him, but there is, he must be on the exit of turn 3 on the inside of the track. They spun off to the inside, but looks a bit facing the wrong way. And the full Coles caution, we believe, is coming out. Looking out of the booth here. Can't actually see the flags at the moment, but we believe that the full Coles caution flags will come out. Pace car will be. That certainly is a pretty dangerous location. And there in the pits is Andre Ribeiro, one of the Penske's.
Yes, and we will see some pit stops now, because this is just coming into the area of the race that the first pit stop was due anyway. Sometimes this race has been run without any yellow flags, but not on this occasion. The first one for Dennis Vitolo's spin. Now then, are we going to see race leader Brian Herta be the first to come into the pit? He led in Portland, and they called a funny fuel strategy. In comes Suspiri, but he was nearly a lap down. I think it looked to me as though Herta was coming in. Yes, look at this. All of the leaders are coming in. Herta first in, followed by Vassar, and then no doubt we'll see Franchitti, Moore and Zanardi. And this is where the crews have to do the business. They've been practicing this morning, all of them up and down the pit lane, putting in that extra bit of practice for a fast stop.
Yes, Cole Selva on the right front of the car, waving him out there. There goes Brian Herta. Larry Ellett, L.E. Ellett is the crew chief on the car. There goes Jimmy Vassar, and there goes Pruitt, and there goes all sorts of cars, all sorts of near misses there. But it looks like Herta has made it out of the pits, and we've seen how difficult it is to make passes on this racetrack. So pit stops absolutely crucial.
Yeah, I don't think actually that amongst the top 3 there's been any change. That's pretty amazing. They've all... Oh no, Zanardi's got ahead of Moore. Zanardi has got ahead of Moore, so that's interesting. Oh, but we've heard that Zanardi may have hit a tyre in the pit lane coming out, and he will have to serve a penalty for that.
Yep, that's an automatic drive-through penalty. He will have to come into the pits under green flag conditions and make another stop and maintain that 60 miles an hour speed limit in the pit lane.
Here we go, Brian Herta gets on the power hard coming out of the final turn. We're hearing, oh look at Alonso Jr. Jr.'s got a chance to get past Fernandez now. Great restart that from Alonso Jr. and he's made the move even before they get down to turn number 2. And look at this, Zanardi's got past Franchitti. Zanardi gets past Franchitti. That looked like a pretty brave piece of overtaking. We didn't quite catch it, but that means that Zanardi's up to 3rd. And we're hearing that apparently he didn't actually clip a tyre in the pit lane. He may have just got away with it. It looked close. And apparently he may be all right, so no black flag has been given to Zanardi. He is in a genuine 3rd place, and he's just taken that from Dario Franchitti.
Yeah, great move then by him, and double whammy there. He doesn't have a penalty, and he gets a position on the racetrack as well, so great work by Alex Zanardi, and great work once again by his team to get him out ahead of one position, and then he makes another one on the racetrack.
Alonso Jr., the other one to gain on that restart. He's now up into 6th place. I wonder how fast he'll be able to close up to the back of Greg Moore. You can just see them in the back of the picture, actually. And look at this. These two now, the 2 Ganassi teammates, are hard at it, battling for 2nd position. Do you remember what happened here last year on the slowdown lap?
On the slowdown lap, they collided and spun off in turn 9. That was fairly remarkable. They were so happy that Zanardi had won the championship and Vassar had won the race. They were sort of too busy congratulating each other, and they collided wheels and both spun off the racetrack. Chip didn't mind at all.
No, he didn't bother. I think he would mind if they took each other off this early in the race, though. We're on lap number 26 out of 83. So 1/3 distance just about completed, well nearly 1/3 distance, and Zanardi there up into 3rd position. He started in 5th. He's taken the work of his team to move up 1 place, and then his own work to move up another position. That was past Franchitti on the restart. So once again, the combination of driver and team is what has won him races, so many races already in this form of racing. His tally up to 14 victories in the 3 years he's been racing here, and now he's got to try and find a way past his teammate, Jimmy Vasser. Now, we'll also keep an eye on the lap times. Brian Herter, of course, had a 3.5 second lead, really, when they stopped for the first round of stops. And again, he seems to be pulling away. Oh, Rahal's off, and somebody else involved there.
Yeah, he was dicing with, well, ahead of him was Max Papis, right behind him was Richie Hearn last time around. That was the battle for 14th, 15th and 16th. There is Rahal. He obviously beats the car. He's lost the fire there, stalled the edge. He needs a push start.
On board with Alex Zanardi then, chasing after Jimmy Vasser. This climb is very steep. If you have to walk up here, I tell you, you know about it, especially in this heat. These cars just pull their way up to the top of the hill without a problem, then plunge back down the hill. The driver just having to correct the slide a little bit, and through this dauntingly fast left-hander, and then through another fast right-hander, which sees them past the pit lane entry and down towards a tricky, technical left-hander that leads on to start-finish straight. You can see Vasser's car just sliding. They are really on the limit.
They are, and that's a crucial corner. There is Mark Blundell, though, in the pit, so problems for the Motorola, the other Pac West car. That's a great shame for those guys. But at turn 11 there, crucial. That's the fastest part of the racetrack coming up thereafter. You need to make a good exit to that corner and perhaps try and make a pass down to turn 2. But there is Scott Pruitt in the pit lane.
Yes, Pruitt makes the first of the stops, and he gets away cleanly again, and that's on lap number 50. That gives him 33 laps to go. That's going to be tight on fuel consumption, but they might be able to just make it if they really lean everything off and he drives as economically as possible. He had to do that last weekend, by the way, and he was holding up a little train of cars in Vancouver. Paul Tracy put the blame on Scott Pruitt a little bit for the fact that he knocked Tony Kanaan out of the race, but I have to say that perhaps that was just a bit of excuse finding.
Yeah, a bit of creative thinking, I think, from Paul Tracy on that occasion, and there is Suspiri in the pits, and Gilles de Ferrand also has been in the pit lane, actually got out ahead of Scott Pruitt, so a place change there made in the pits.
Right, Gentle Suspiri, his second experience of pit stops, champ car style. And oh, they've got a problem. It's taking too long to put the fuel in. Finally, they get it going again. Now then, here's an important stop. Jimmy Vasser is in the pit. Lap number 51 this is, and Jimmy Vasser into the pit. That gives him 32 laps still to do as he goes across the line this time. And it's taking a bit of time, a lot of fuel to put on, and they're trying to get the last little drop of fuel in there. And Vasser having to come in just that lap earlier or so. So, and several other cars in. Michael Andretti into the pits as well here. The Newman Haas crew go to work. Chucks the refreshment bottle out of the way. Every last drop of fuel has to go in the car. They're taking that little bit of extra time, I think, just to make sure it all goes in.
Yeah, really fascinating time now in the pit stops, and it's great stuff to watch these guys. The crews are wonderful to watch. These pit stops are so carefully choreographed. They spent hours practicing them out there this morning. The crew has met them pretty much first thing this morning, 7:30. There they were, and here comes Jimmy Vasser past us. He's down to 11th place now, ahead of Adrian Fernandez and Gilles de Ferrand, and then Scott Pruitt. They have made their pit stops.
Now, who has not made their stops? Let me tell you, Brian Herter has, I think Brian Herter's just headed into the pits. Yes, Herter's just come in. So has Zanardi. Zanardi comes into his stop as well. Now then, the Ganassi crew go to work. Zanardi angles the car slightly. Good move that, just to try and get as clean an exit as possible.
And a very good last lap by Brian Herter. He pulled out more than a second over Alex Zanardi. That was when Vasser came into the pits the previous lap. And there you saw Herter go past. There is Herter. He had a clear run out of the pits. And there is Zanardi behind him.
But where is Vasser? That is going to be crucial too. Where is Jimmy Vasser? Speed limit now. They get off the speed limit when they get to the last pit, and then they get back onto track and they're up to full speed. Cold tyres, remember, and these cars are just all over the place on cold tyres. When Danny Sullivan drove Gilles de Ferrand's car yesterday, he'd already done a lap and he still got huge amount of wheel spin when he changed into third gear, and they really have to be very sensitive with the throttle on this first lap on cold tyres.
They do indeed, and I think we can rely on him doing that. There comes Herder past us with Zanardi not too far behind him, and a good way back to Jimmy Vasser.
I'll tell you what's interesting, though, Frankitti's not come in yet. He's got another lap out of this tankful, and that might mean he can turn up the wick on the last stint. That's going to be an interesting one. He has to come in now, so he has 31 laps remaining. In fact, 30 laps remaining by the time he comes out of this pit stop. This could be good news for Franchitti, but of course it depends on this pit stop now. I wonder how fast he was on a clear track as well. What was his last lap time? 11.8? Pretty good. Tony Kanaan also putting in a good time. Change of front wing there as well. They made a little bit of adjustment to that front wing. Clean stop, gets out, rejoins into the pit lane, but has to stay at 60 miles an hour now, all the way to the final pit bay. There's Tony Kanaan behind him in the picture as well. He's just come out of the Tasman pit, and now there goes Herter. Herter goes through the lead. Zanardi's in second position. Franchitti rejoins in third place. It's Vasser who's lost out through all this.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Certainly, the later they were able to do, the longer they were able to go before making that pit stop, the better off they seem to be.
Well, what did we talk about earlier on? Herter versus Zanardi. And that's what's going to happen now in the final 30 laps of this race. It's set up beautifully. Look, Kanaan's got ahead of Vasser as well. So Vasser finds himself, down in 5th position. And that's bad news for Jimmy, the race winner here last year. Started 6th, came through to take the win. Great drive. Not on this occasion. He's had bad luck in the pit lane, and he's really going to have his work cut out. Tony Kanaan is up into 3rd position, and he got past Dario Franchitti last lap around, and this was how he did it. Just closing up behind, and took the advantage as they came down towards turns 3 and 4.
Whoa.
In fact, Dario running that bit wide, and that allowed Tony straight through.
Yeah, locked up the rear brakes there, did Dario Franchitti. Slid wide. Thank you very much, says Tony Kanaan. And there is Gilles de Ferran in the pits.
Yeah, that's interesting. He's decided he's going to have to make an extra stop, and he wants to get it over and done with as early as possible. The Spheri is in as well. He reckons there's a problem with the car. We saw him spin a few moments ago, and they're just trying to sort the car out. Some sort of braking problem by the look of it, with the way that they're checking the actuation of the brakes there. But Spheri running towards the back, so it doesn't really make a great deal of difference. Michael Andretti, he's running 14th, just one place behind teammate Christian Fittipaldi, but there's around about 2 seconds between those two on the road. You can see Michael's progress. At the start he was 12th, then he had the contact with JJ Leto, dropped into 26th place, lap 16, and he's worked up to 14th, but he's got a bit stuck here now.
Gilles de Ferran, meanwhile, has rejoined in 16th place, so Andretti now up to 13th, and about, well, I'd say 20 seconds or so behind him on the racetrack. Having made that pit stop is Gilles de Ferran.
Up front, back into the battle for 4th place now. Jimmy Vasser in the red Target car, now closing up a bit more to Dario Franchitti. And Vasser looking to try and get back up with the leaders. He had a slight fuel refueling problem, which is what cost him time, and that's why he lost out on that last round of pit stops. But now, with a chance perhaps of closing up behind Dario Franchitti in the battle for 4th position. Down in the pits, though, the worries, the concerns, the calculations on the computers as they try and work out whether they're going to be able to make it through this race on what is remaining.
Yep. Kind of back their pace off a bit.
Right.
How much fuel do you need to find? Well, we're under a gallon what we need to find. So Brian's working really hard. You know, we still got 20 laps left here to find it. So I think he can do it.
This harkens back to like Rio de Janeiro, where we had a great fuel race down there.
I was just talking about that with Bob's engineer. So we want to make up for that this time.
All right, we'll wait and see what it's like. That's what's going on right now at the Herta camp. They need less than a gallon.
Gary Gerald with race engineer Ray Leto. Let's hear from Jan Beekers now.
Alex saving enough fuel. I'll tell you, we're trying to save fuel. We're as close as we've ever been. And you can see that obviously every lap that he goes by, he wants to see exactly what the fuel counter says. How was that last lap? Are you going to make it? The last lap he did was perfect on the mileage.
Okay, got a car
off the track.
Yep, we got a car off. It is Vincenzo Spheri. He went off early, went back out onto the track, and now he's off for all. I wonder if it was a brake problem, because he just lost it down there at turn number 2. And we are hearing it's going to be a full course yellow. It is. God, this is what everybody needed, just to try and get through this race without having to make an extra pit stop. This is exactly what they need. And look at the discussions. Maurice Nunn there in the middle, Chip Ganassi on the right-hand side. Heated discussions going on down there in pit lane, as this yellow could be the difference. Oh, there's one of the players' cars, and that is Greg. That's Greg Moore, who's pulled over to the side of the road there. And so this yellow's going to last a little bit longer, I should think, while they pick that car up. This is a bit disappointing. Just waiting for this this race to rerun. I tell you what, though, they're going to be able to run flat out, which will be fun as we go towards the checkered flag. We'll have to see, expecting to see Tony Kanaan come in, mind you, at some point, although maybe even he will be all right.
Well, yeah, that'll be interesting. Will he be able to stay out there? We'll see.
Drama here as we await the green flag. There's been an accident. Alex Barron is involved. There's been an accident again as we approach a green flag. This happened last weekend in Vancouver, and for some reason, two cars have got together as they've climbed the hill, as they approach the green flag, but not for another 2 miles, nearly.
No, that's very strange. There is Alex Brown. He takes the steering off. He's out of that car. The car embedded in the tyre barriers there by the bridge, and it was Helio Castroneves in which he came into contact. And, well, there we are. Of course, the yellow will now be extended. We were going to go green this time around. Of course, that can't be the case now. That car parked against the Eagle Toyota, parked against the barriers there. Great shame for those guys, but brilliant news for these guys. Except, I don't know, there's Scott Remke, their general manager of Team Rahal, taking a sip of water there. This is going to get very tense indeed. You know, now they should have plenty of fuel to get to the finish, and they're going to be able to turn up the wick, turn up the power, and there is Helio Castroneves without a rear wing on the car.
Yeah, I think he was involved in that incident with Alex Barron. It looks as though damage is done, but Helio Castroneves there in the pits. So the pace car light's still on. It looks as though these drivers are going to have to do another lap under yellow, and then perhaps they'll be let go.
I think that's a pretty good move by Carter, I have to say. I mean, the yellow is out. Fuel is now not an issue at all. You might as well try and get out there and try and get the track as clear as you can. There is the Jet driver. There it is. Well, there's the Jet. There was a driver in front of it, and it's a Toyota truck, of course. That's the official truck of CART, and I think it's probably Bob Raschke driving that truck. He'll be having the time of his life out there, and a couple of laps. He always loves the opportunity to get out there on the racetrack, but I think it is a good move. They'll try and get this track as clean as they possibly can and make it as good a race for everybody, fans, drivers, crews, and us, and you guys at home.
Yeah, let's see what the race brings us. There, down at this side of the track is Vincenzo Sospiri, having photographs taken with the fans, and joining in the American experience. These drivers are always much more accessible, perhaps, than their counterparts in Europe. They're much more opportunity for people to get autographs, to get pictures taken. And there's a look at the crowd enjoying, lapping up the sunshine and enjoying what should be a brilliant finish to the race.
Yeah, not many spare seats there, I don't think, in that grandstand. And this is going to be pretty exciting. Here they are, and they're just coming past the Jet driver. There is the driver going past on the right-hand side of the track in front of our vantage point here, directly in front of us now. And Herta there still trying to keep that temperature up, keep those tyre pressures up, so that when it does finally go green, he can get a good clean jump, and that jump is going to be crucial. We've seen how difficult it is to pass, but certainly it is possible, and particularly when fuel isn't an issue, they can use the overtake button. It just gives them, it richens up the mixture even more to give them maximum power, and maybe they can make that pass. We'll see.
This is going to be fun. Tony Kanaan's in there as well. Of course, he's still looking for his first podium finish in the championship. Franchitti, the twice winner of the last two races, looking for his hat-trick, and he won't have given up yet, starting from 4th position. And now they've all got to get position. Look at the tension down there in the pits. There's a bit of a laugh, a nervous laugh from one of the crew members on Zanardi's team as they head towards green.
Nothing to lose for those guys. Of course, the championship is tied up. Zanardi just wants to win as many races as he can.
Yeah, well, can he do it? Can he get past Herta, or is Herta going to have enough for him on this occasion? Here we go then, Brian Herta and Alex Zanardi. Herta really accelerated down the hill hard there and gets away very quickly. Watch those cold tyres. Watch for cars getting a bit sideways as they come out of that last turn, turn number 11. Good restart that from Herta. He did catch Zanardi napping just a little bit, and that's the initial worry out of the way. A restart, always a great opportunity for a pass, as we saw Alonso Jr. make a pass earlier on, and indeed Zanardi himself. But this time, there's an off down in turn 2. Carpentier, Pruitt, Gilles de Ferran. Oh no, what a shame. That means the yellows are going to be out again, surely, and only 7 laps to go. What a tragedy it would be if this race finishes under yellow flag. I hope they can get those cars cleared away as fast as possible, but it has gone full course yellow, and they have to hold position now. Full course yellow. Zanardi drops back a little bit. There's nothing they can do about it. They have to hold station, and they can see that yellow flag being given at all marshal points. And what a great pity. I just wonder how fast they can get those cars out of the way at turn number 2.
And here's a replay, and you can see under braking there, Pruitt is hit from behind, or apparently by Gilles de Ferran. They were side by side coming down to the corner. They spin, and Carpentier, an absolutely innocent victim in that one.
Yeah, nowhere he could do anything. De Ferran was trying to get down the inside of Pruitt, and it looked to me as though Pruitt tried to squeeze him a little too late, really. De Ferran was there. He should have just given him a bit more room and fought it out in the latter part of the corner, but unfortunately out of the race, and Gilles seems to be going through that a lot at the moment. In Vancouver, he had rear brake failure right at the end of the race, which took him out after a pretty good drive up through the field. So he's just having a tough time this season as the wrecker trucks get down there, try and get those cars out of the way as quickly as they can. Summary of positions so far. Tracy's moved up a bit, hasn't he, through the order? He's now up to 8th
Yeah,
position.
he took advantage of that little melee, because he was ahead of it already, wasn't he? He'd moved up there before the last, before this round of rash of pit stops, and Carpentier then is out of the race. Bobby Rahal there is running. He is 3 laps down. He had that incident up at the corkscrew, of course, and it took him a long time to get refired. Poor old Bobby doesn't have much luck with being push-started. Remember that race early on in the season at Long Beach? He was stuck at the hairpin there for a couple of laps as well. Poor old Bobby. They're not doing him any favours on his last ride, are they? It's a shame, because he's been very competitive this season, and he had a pretty good car this weekend, even if he didn't qualify well. He was back in 19th, which is actually his worst starting position here at Laguna Seca in 17 tries. There is the pace car still out on the track, so it will be a 2-lap dash to the checkered flag. And I say Tony Kanan's looking pretty good at this stage. He's in 3rd place. You can see him hanging back there even now on this with 1 lap to go before we go green. And I'm sure Steve Horn will be saying to him, if I were you, I'd settle for 3rd and leave a little bit of a gap when you come down the hill. Yep. Let those two sort themselves out, and you make sure that you keep the 4th place car, Dario Franchitti, behind you. And if anything comes up amongst those two at the front of the field, then you're sitting pretty. And if not, you've still got a podium position, and that would be great news for Tony Kanaan. He really has deserved it. He's driven absolutely brilliantly this year. A couple of bits of bad luck, as we saw last week in Vancouver. That incident when he would surely have finished at the very least 3rd. He was running behind Scott Pruitt, who finished in 2nd place and was clearly much faster at that stage in the race.
Bit of dirt on the inside there, so they're going to have to watch that as they come down to turn 2 on the restart. And as you say, the chances of Herta and Zanardi surviving these 2 laps might play into Tony Kanaan's hands a touch. Franchitti behind Vassar, then Unser, then Fernandez, Tracy, Fittipaldi, Andretti in 10th. Richie Hearn 11th. Max Papis is heading for another points score here. So that would be good news for Toyota. They've been consistently in the points the last 5 or 6 races, so that would certainly help.
That is Jeanette Herta, Brian's wife. They have a young baby daughter, Callie, and she will be probably with her grandma, I think, probably down in the paddock area here. And certainly a lot of the Herta clan is here this weekend. His father Tom, a big supporter, of course, through his racing career. He'll be biting his nails, I know. He's a pretty nervous father at the best of times. And now just 2 laps to go, and that man Alex Zanardi on his tail.
It's nerve-wracking stuff, isn't it? Wow, fantastic. Brian Herta's had such a tremendous record here at Laguna Seca. In every kind of car that he's raced, he's always been superbly fast. But he's still got to beat his nemesis, Alex Zanardi, who has just taken the win from him on so many occasions over the last few years, and particularly here at Laguna in 1996. Here we go then, ready for the restart. The 2 of them accelerate hard down the hill. Herta this time not catching Zanardi unawares quite so much, and they're pretty much together. It's only 2 laps to go, remember, as they come across the line this time. Who's going to make it? Who's going to make the mistakes? Who's going to keep it clean? And are we going to see a passing manoeuvre in the last 2 laps? 5 miles to go, and Zanardi heads down towards turn number 2, trying to find a way to get past Brian Herta. Tucks in close behind. These 2 have opened up a little gap over Tony Kanaan, perhaps, as you said.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. I think, but Kanaan has a little bit of breathing space over the 4th place car of Dario Franchitti. But this is what the race is all about. It's Brian Herta against Alex Zanardi.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Here they go, up through turn number 5, heading up the hill towards turn number 6, the blind corner. A very difficult corner. The corner that Dario Franchitti went off and during qualifying on Friday, just after he'd set provisional pole. Herta a little wide.
Yeah,
but he
and
held
certainly
it.
Zanardi got a run on him there. Now we'll see Herta here protecting the inside line. Can Zanardi make around the outside? No.
Yes, Herta's doing the sensible thing there. He knew he'd made a little error in the corner before, and he wasn't going to allow Zanardi any space, not like in 1996. And this time he keeps that inside line covered. Zanardi's going to have to find somewhere else to overtake, and he's only got just over a lap to do it. Herta looking for his first ever race win. They'll get the white flag this time.
And everybody in the grandstand in front of us is absolutely on their feet, and they're all cheering for their local man. Brian Herta's got a good lead there. 0.6 of a second as it came across the start-finish line. Just 2 miles to go.
Herta, can he hold on? He's got through turn 2 safely. That's one of the potential overtaking spots. I don't think Zanardi's going to have the answer for him this time. He uses the curb on the exit. It's not enough. Herta has opened up that little bit of an advantage. Everybody cheering, waving Herta on as he comes past the grandstand here. On board now with Alex Zanardi. What can Alex Zanardi do? He's got to use everything in his armory to find a way past.
Everybody was cheering and waving here. There we go through turn 6. Now comes the corkscrew. 2 years ago, this was Herta's downfall. But no way is Zanardi close enough this time.
No, too far back, but Herta, even so, takes a slightly defensive line just in case, and Zanardi cannot get close enough. There are just 2 corners to go, and Herta's heading for his first race win. The last corner is a possible overtaking place. Is Zanardi going to try it? Herta defends the inside. Zanardi goes wide, looks for the good exit. There's a long run to the flag here. Can he get on the power earlier? It's not enough. Brian Herta's going to win his first race in the Champ Car Series. He holds off Alex Zanardi, and it's Herta who wins at last. Brilliant story for Brian Herta. Zanardi did his best, but he just couldn't do it. Canaan takes his best result in 3rd, and Franchitti finishes in 4th place. And Herta has done it at last. Fantastic stuff.
So frustrating.